All right, so we are reviewing worksheet P12, our lesson on worksheet P12, and we are looking at trying to create positive exponents. Only positive numbers, which means they can't be negative, of course, but it also means it can't be zero. You cannot have a zero exponent in your answer. Well, reminder that what happens with exponents when they are negative is a negative exponent simply means that we get to move from the top of the fraction to the bottom of the fraction if it has a negative exponent, and it changes to a positive exponent when we do that. Or if we're at the bottom with the negative exponent, it's going to move to the top. That's really all we're doing, is moving things around a fraction. So if we start with no fraction, there is a fraction. We have to understand that m to the negative 4 is over the fraction line, which means that since it has a negative exponent, it gets to move to the bottom. So we're going to move m to the 4th to the bottom. It loses the negative exponent. Now, any fraction that you have for a final answer, you have to have a numerator. And since we don't have one, we just put the number 1 in that position. That's how we get to our answer for a negative exponent when there's nothing left on the top. In question number 2, no fraction to start with. So we say, hey, there is a fraction line there. We just don't have it in there originally. We can draw it in. The negative 4 has an exponent of 1. Its exponent is 1. Yes, it's negative, but its exponent is 1. So it does not get to move. Only negative exponents get to move. The a, which has a negative exponent of 3, or negative 3, does get to move. So negative 4 is going to stay on top. A to the 3rd is going to go to the bottom. In question number 3, hey, we got a fraction to start with. The 4 is exponent. Remember, it has its own exponent. It's a 1 if there's no exponent on it. But the n to the negative 3 gets to move up. And so n to the positive 3 ends up on top. We leave the 4 on the bottom. In the case of number 4, once again, the 4 does not have an exponent that is negative. It is a 1, so it stays on top. W to the 0. Well, I want to remind you what we know about anything to the 0 power. All right? Anything to the 0 power. So I'm going to do a little work off to the side, where I want to remind you that we know what 3 to the 3rd power is, and 3 to the 2nd power is, and 3 to the 1st power is. Right? We know that's 27, and this is 9, and this is 3, which would make 3 to the 0 the next one. Well, what's happening is in our pattern, we just keep dividing by 3 and dividing by 3, which means we're going to follow that same pattern. We end up with an answer of 1. Now, if I want to change this number from a 3 to a 4 or a 10 or 1,000 or whatever, it's not going to change. Yes, these numbers will change, but we'll always divide by that base number. And we'll always end up with a 1 when we have the power of 0. So this w to the 0 power is actually equal to 1. Well, 4 times that 1 is equal to a 4. So we leave it a 4. All right? In other words, the w to the 0 just kind of floats away. U to the negative 3 is going to move to the top, become u to the positive 3. V squared, v to the 2nd power, does not have a negative exponent. It stays put. It stays on the bottom. So there's our answer there. And we take a look at question number 5. All right, once again, t to the 2nd power, positive exponent, stays put. Negative 4 has an exponent of 1. It stays put. Q to the negative 3 does get to move. Now, I like to do things in alphabetical order, as you guys will recall from previous lessons. I like alphabetical order, so I'm going to put the q to the 3rd in front of the t squared. That really doesn't matter. But then remember this r to the 0 power. Remember, r to the 0 is a 1. Well, negative 4 times 1 is just negative 4. And so there is our answer. I'll let you finish out the rest of the worksheet. Send that in to me, and we'll get you rolling on the reassessment once you're doing well on that. Thank you.